Be ready. 15 seconds.
This year, we have commemorated the 75th anniversary of the Dandi March, inspired and led by Mahatma Gandhi in a variety of ways. Thousands of admirers and followers of Gandhiji from India and overseas reenacted the famous Dandi March. Many congressmen and women, inspired by the leadership of Sonia Ji, participated in this historic reenactment. Our government issued special commemorative postage stamps. I am very happy that today we meet here to issue special commemorative coins. I compliment my colleague, the Finance Minister, for the initiative he has taken in this regard. We all salute Mahatma Gandhi for the courage of his conviction and the power of his symbolism. Holding up a first of salt from the soil of Mother India, Gandhiji made British rule unpalatable. It was a historic moment in the creation of free India. I have spoken on several occasions during this year on the significance of Dandi March. The Dandi March was not only a march for independence, it was also a march for the uplift of the poorest of the poor, the emancipation of women and their empowerment, the removal of untouchability, the assertion of the right of our people over the natural resources of which they are the inheritors and owners, the establishment of unity of people professing diverse faiths, and above all, it was a march for our spiritual regeneration. It was also a march of unity of all Indians, irrespective of caste and religion, language, and region. The inclusive nature of our national freedom movement created the foundation for our inclusive democracy, of which we are justly proud. By following Gandhiji's life and deeds, by recapturing the spirit of his ideas like Dandi March, we can build the India of Gandhiji's dream, an inclusive and prosperous India. In celebrating the anniversary of the Dandi March, we must remember that our leaders wanted to free us from foreign rule and from a mindset of dependence. They wanted each one of us to stand for our own rights and take pride in our being Indians, the children of Mother India. The idea of self reliance is important even today. However, self reliance does not imply pursuing a policy of anarchy. It does not mean cutting ourselves away from the world. Self reliance in the modern world implies the ability to pursue one's interests with self confidence and faith in one's own capabilities. Let me begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to my leader and to each one of you for this interaction. We are here to take stock of the implementation of some key promises we made to the people while seeking their mandate. We were returned to power at the center, not just on a wave of resentment against the NDA, but equally on a wave of hope and faith in our ability to provide a government that cares. It was a positive vote for a secular and a liberal government, a forward looking and modernizing government, an inclusive and transparent government. I am pleased to report that in the 16 months that the government of the United Progressive Alliance has been in office, we have implemented nearly three-fourths of the commitments undertaken in the National Common Minimum Program. The most important contribution of our party in government has been to bring the nation back to the politics of modernization and the economics of equity and development. The weaker sections of society, the marginalized, the depressed, the minorities feel a new sense of belonging and ownership in the destiny of our nation. We have taken several steps to empower scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, minorities, women, children, the disabled, senior citizens, and people living in the far reaches of this vast land. A bill to provide for reservation of posts in civil services has been introduced. We have taken several steps to ensure that commitments already made in respect of the empowerment of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes are fulfilled in a time-bound manner. A group of ministers on Dalit affairs is monitoring our efforts to promote the welfare of scheduled castes. The Department of Personnel is closely monitoring fulfillment of quotas in government jobs at the center. I urge state governments to also pay special attention to fulfillment of commitments to Dalits and tribals at the state level. The central government will make sure that at least 80% of the vacancies in SC/ST reservation quota jobs in government will be filled on a time-bound basis. Scholarships for higher education for SC/ST students have been significantly increased. A high-level committee is putting together information on the social and economic status of the minorities in India. We have also taken steps to economically and socially empower the minorities and widen education and employment opportunities for SCs, STs, and minorities in the private sector. We propose to come forward with a new 15-point program for the welfare of minorities with specific timelines and targets in the future.